Joining us now, NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hilliard, NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster, who's in Chicago for us, and New York Times reporter Hamed Ali Aziz, who covers the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration Policy. Shaq, I want to begin with you. What are you seeing in Chicago?
Katie, there's really a feeling of a city bracing for what is to come, especially in light of that announcement, Operation Midway, from the federal government. We saw, and you showed some of those pictures throughout the weekend, we saw regular protests downtown Chicago, people saying that they don't want to see this increased immigration enforcement, that they don't want to see National Guard troops in downtown Chicago. And I should also add that there's real fear. This is the start of celebrations of Mexican Independence Day, a city that is about 30% Latino, and governor saying that he believes that the administration is launching this immigration enforcement to time with those celebrations, and you're seeing the impact of that on the ground, with some celebrations already canceled for this upcoming weekend. At a parade last weekend, they had ICE spotters, people literally with whistles, ready to notify others if there were federal agents on the ground. And Katie, all of this is causing some real fear. I want you to listen to a comment from one person who attended a rally just this morning that was put together by faith leaders. Listen here. How concerned are you? The National Guard is not here at this point. He's still
They don't need to be here, period. I don't want nothing to do with them because he lies, and I'm tired of it. I see some of these kids walking around here. They need help. But what is he doing? He want to deport everybody. Deport his wife and his baby. That's what he need to deport. Take her back to, excuse me, but take her back to where she comes from.
Man, it's hard when you hear black people talk like that because we are really angered over Donald Trump and his president. We don't like the shit, generally, black people. But I think we're taking it a little bit too personal. This lady is venting and anger and frustration based on a bunch of propaganda and shit. We have a real reason to be pissed. I ain't saying we don't. I'm not saying that this lady don't or anybody don't, but she mad because they're deporting people. She does not look like an illegal immigrant, and I don't think she got nothing to worry about as far as the deportation part. And just why are we so caught up in the deportation part? Why does that make us black people so mad? Because the Democrats are trying to link us to the relationships that we do have with the Latino communities. But we're good neighbors to them and they're good neighbors to us, and we have to live together in some kind of harmony. But when it comes down to the federal government getting involved and like, hey, we got to deport you if you're here undocumented or illegally, and then black people having this feeling that they need to get involved and save the illegal immigrants from being deported, as if we've just been chilling for like the last, 3 or 4 or 5 decades, waiting for somebody to need our help. And we spring into action and here we are. I'm not saying that they put a mic in front of this lady's face and she shouldn't speak her mind or express herself, whatever she feels anybody should, but we need to be better messaged so that when we get in front of that microphone, we let them know it's a concern that the National Guard is coming here, but not necessarily for the deportation, which is a legal issue. But what we need them to do is come down here and make sure that black people get some things they need to get up out of the position they're in, so we can be away from this. We are so close to this immigration issue because we're so close to the bottom of everything in this country. So it's been okay for us to keep popping up in these news cycles and having these talking points and these overwhelming, unexplainable emotions about something that really ain't our business. And some things that ain't your business might even affect you emotionally, might even make you feel a certain kind of way. but it still doesn't give you the right to neglect yourself, neglect your loved ones, neglect the things that are going on in your world. And the problem that I'm having with this, and it's becoming more clear each time I speak about this shit, is that the Democrats have fucked up most of the major cities in the United States. No other way can you argue when a city goes from Democratic leadership to Democratic leadership to Democratic leadership to Democratic leadership for a significant amount of time to where something should fucking be okay, or it ain't gonna be okay. And if it ain't gonna be okay, at least we have a clear understanding that that is your standard. That is what shit is gonna look like in your cities. It's not like New York is an outlier, or LA is an outlier, or Chicago is an outlier. They're not. They're consistently full of a bunch of homeless, broke black people. Consistently. They're consistently filled in the inner city, down, especially closer to downtown areas, with a bunch of trash and little opportunity for certain people. And when the sun comes up, people who are holding briefcases with business deals and account information worth millions and billions are stepping over these homeless people because they only have to come out in the daylight. And then with the internet, probably half the time they ain't got to step over them no more. It's a virtual fucking step over. But the problem is that we haven't gained our understanding of what our place is in this. We are still under the illusion that our time in the sun has come and gone, and we've never had a time in the sun. If that, whatever you're thinking about, and I'm not going to tell you what you might think our moment of getting over the hump or breaking through was, but think about your own moment in your head as far as black people in America breaking through. Hasn't happened. And they make us feel like we were kicking ass in that civil rights march and they killed Martin Luther King and we were like, yeah, we won. We stopped. Usually you stop because either you won or you lost. You don't just fucking stop. Unless you know it's going to be more bullets flying. And I just don't like to see my black people, especially my older black people, out there so emotional and misguided, and this black man is standing there sticking that mic in her face and leading her questions in the wrong goddamn direction. He should like make her think and be like, well, how do you feel about the young black men that might be arrested through this, who ordinarily wouldn't be? As if they're not in a bad enough fucking place down here doing whatever it is they're doing to eat each day. But goddamn, can you be reasonable here? You see these people standing around with not a whole lot to do, and you think they're going to just materialize some money after they don't own nothing. They've been shut out. They've been locked down. They've been under fucking educated. And this lady's mad because they about to deport. You know, man, need deporting people. He need to deport his wife. Ain't y'all tired of hearing that shit? You're not deporting the fucking president's wife. That shit ain't fucking happening. This is the United States of America. Let's be at least somewhat reasonable here. We get pissed and fly off the handle and shit and say stuff like that, but that dumb shit is becoming a talking point. And that should not be a fucking talking point. You should not be saying deport the president's wife. Yeah, deport the president. That's some helpless fucking, that's all I got kind of shit. Ain't got nothing else to say but deport the president's fucking wife. And that's our talking point. And the Democrats are cool as long as we keep pushing it. They say holler it out a couple of times and then we keep echoing that shit like it makes sense or like it's some smart shit to be saying. It ain't. It ain't. Fuck what Trump going through in his National Guards. But we as Democrats constantly voting in these fucking governors and mayors and AGs, black AGs all over the country. And black people filled up in prisons. Explain that. Black people are in all these positions with the keys in their hand and they ain't doing nothing but locking up other black people and accepting and agreeing with the Democratic leadership that we bad people and we need to be locked up, and it's imperative that you undereducate us while you're locking our asses up. And killing a few along the way ain't a bad idea. Murder seems to keep us in line a little better. They know all the points to hit. I'm just pissed off that we so pissed off about the other bullshit. We need to be pissed off about some other shit.
Katie, I should also add that something that we continue to hear at those rallies, you hear from political leaders, is not that people feel as if everything's okay in the city of Chicago, as if crime can't come down anymore. They just feel as if it's a waste of federal resources to send in National Guard troops who, by law, would be essentially restricted to protecting federal property and federal personnel, and then having the surge that's targeting undocumented immigrants, Katie.
Well, if you don't have no federal property or statues or no shit in jeopardy of being stolen or written on, then they just standing around. And if Chicago is so fucked up that Trump can send the National fucking Guard in and even have one other person in the whole country agree with him, means that that city is fucked up. They ain't got it. They think that they can have a fucked up city and that can be the normal operating procedure and everybody's supposed to just adjust. And then this crazy motherfucker want to send in troops and y'all like, oh no, we like crime. We like illegal immigrants. It's just fucking up is down and down is up. That we cannot forget that just a few short decades ago, that shit was us. And everybody was like, hey, it's the National Guard. You know, it's not us. You just got to do it with the National Guard. But all of a sudden, we ready to break the fucking laws and go against the United States government and all this shit. Where was the fuck was that fight a few decades ago? Like last decade and the one before that and the one before that. If we got that pissed for ourselves, do you know where we could be at? And these black pun, where do they find these motherfuckers at? Shaq. What do you think about? And she answering that shit as if we are Hispanic. We're not. We don't hate them. We don't dislike them. We live amongst them. They have made it very clear that every new group of people, especially poor ones, will be greeted in this country with us on the other side of the cash register, buying tacos from them, or buying dinners, or buying clothes, or buying tires, or buying something. Us. They never, ever come into this country and see us on the right side of the counter. The side with the register that opens. And without a gun in our hand. That kind of shit don't make no sense. Don't call back here. The fucking telemarketers. So like I was saying, they have gotten us to a level of comfort with negativity and with homelessness and with all this other bullshit. And we sitting here going, yeah, we like our crime. Yeah, leave us alone. Don't take these illegal immigrants away. You know, they get driver's license. Let's say they, meaning the Democrats, give them just enough so that they feel they have a legitimate fight and a legitimate reason for asking for them to stay here. But they go up to that point. When Biden was in office last year, if he's going to open the motherfucking borders and just for real let them in like he did in high numbers, for real just let them in and think that that's just going to be the order of the day, why didn't he completely seal the deal and do some fucking executive orders? Say, hey, these executive orders is everybody entering the country from this date back. He was the fucking president. The president can do amnesty. What would happen if Ronald Reagan did it in the 80s? What would happen if President Biden, did amnesty? Said, as of this, now anybody come in after this date, I can't help you. But if you are here as of this date for blah, 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 sign the paperwork, get that shit done. Not only should the second generation Latinos in this country have proper citizenship, but so should their parents and grandparents. Fuck it. They've been here long, man, give it to them. They ain't gonna make nothing no different except it's gonna make these businesses have to deal with these people the right way and not be fucking over them and shit like they do everybody. And we feel the only way we can be on the right side of the party that we are a part of is to do this bullshit they put us on. Of getting the opportunity to speak once again and speaking about some shit have nothing to do with us. because we are believing that these troops are coming in to take away the illegal immigrants and that only mess with the illegal immigrants. And if there's a couple of black guys standing on the corner hanging out, they're going to just walk right by them because they're not there for them. They're just there for this shit. Black people, y'all better wake the fuck up and realize that it's like a win-win for them. If they come down there and get a bunch of illegal immigrants, that's cool. And if they come down there and the black people happen to be in a gang war or some shit, they gonna get them too. It's like a win-win. And we don't get it. So we have stopped defending ourselves, and we're defending what they're telling us to defend, not what needs to be defended. And that's pretty bad because it's a mentality. It had nothing to do with what's really going on. It's what they're telling us that's going on, and we buying that bullshit.
I'm a little confused about what exactly the justification is for going in. And Vaughn, hopefully you can help me with this, because Donald Trump had been talking about crime and needing to help Chicago deal with crime, even if they did not want that help. Then you also had Tom Homan over the weekend talking about how they're going to go after cartels. And now this Operation Blitz is for undocumented immigrants. I'm not quite sure what the goal is here in Chicago.
Right, and I think that this gets at the heart of the back and forth over the course of the last 2 weeks, Katie. And to your question, that initially there was the justification from this White House was the need for a surge of federal immigration enforcement agents. And then the president himself started talking about crime, and that the reason a federal presence was needed in Chicago was because of crime.
And we know crime is synonymous with black. So we need to be very careful here. When they say illegal immigrant criminals, illegal immigrant crime, illegal immigrant pregnancy, they precede whatever the hell they talking about with illegal immigrant. When you've been in this country as long as we have, and there's other people they're talking about, they don't have to precede it with African American. They start talking about high unemployment rates, we know they're talking about us. High murder rate, we know they're talking about us. High prison rates, we know they're talking about us. We know. So they don't have to say a name. So when they start talking about, well, we're also hitting these cities to get the high crime rate, that's us. And that's what we need to be able to listen to and decipher this fucking language that they've been using since we've been here. And since they've been here, since we all been together, we ought to be able to at least communicate clearly. And we know what the fuck they talking about. They going to Chicago for crime. I don't see, so far, illegal immigration and all that is like its own separate little crime. It's an administrative issue, the way we've been treating it in this country. And Trump come along putting handcuffs on people. It's a little different. And it sets some people back like, whoa, what's going on? And I can even admit that it's a little different for me. But you can't get so unsettled that you leave your post, that you forget that this is what you're here to guard. So they distract you and you off looking, trying to investigate something that is not in your wheelhouse, that you probably could observe and report, or you could pay closer attention to it and at least say, yeah, it's not none of my business. It'd be better for me to, pay attention to what I should be paying attention to. We're getting so easily distracted that they're really taking advantage of us and making us look kind of, easily taken advantage of. If we look that way, in my opinion. When I see that poor elderly black lady with that kind of emotion, and it's so misguided, because if they deport a whole bunch of illegal immigrants, it's not going to change her life one bit. It's not like she's going to go to the store the next day and be like, gosh, what happened to 30% of the community? And somebody, wow, they deported them all. Oh, no. Well, unfortunately, that means more opportunities for you. That means more resources. We're crying about not having medical care for black people. And they keep telling us, some of you aren't going to have health care because Trump's taking your health care away. And he's trying to take away the illegal immigrants too, but we want them to stay and share in the health care that's being taken away from us. I don't know how none of that shit makes sense. Make them fucking make the illegal immigrant citizens. That's the only answer. Spending is not gonna make sense when this is all said and done. When you add up all the money that Trump is spending on his high-profile immigration raids, high-profile trying to get people the hell out the country, and then you do the numbers. It's going to be a solid number, an actual number deported, and count the money and how much of that money was worth it. Was it worth it? At that Brago Garcia thing already, and others, and just the raids and the travel and the hotel rooms and the expenses that's going into this. Is it really going to make sense? Is it really going to, where we're going to say, you know what, we spent X amount of dollars, but all the illegal immigrants are gone. They did it. It's not even going to be significant enough. It's more disruptive. It's more scare tactic and all of that. It's very unfortunate for anybody who got to live in that. I'm not to be disrespectful on that point, but it's more propaganda than anything. Jump in a room of 500 illegal immigrants, scare all 500, but you actually only apprehend 5. You know, in our grand scheme of things, ain't that bad. But what he's creating is havoc and chaos and fear. And people are biting. You know, I would like to see everybody respond to Donald Trump differently. Everybody. He would be so much less effective than he has been, but he got a big part of this nation, and he's tugging at their heartstrings, and he's letting them know, I'm trying to give you back your country. I'm trying to put these people back in their place. I'm trying to make sure that you are favored when it comes to moving about the United States. He's trying to do all those things right out in the open in front of everybody, and the Democrats keep doing the same kind of shit he do and disguising it as something else. But it always ends up with them being on top, them being in a position of superiority, and them telling us what to fucking do. Quit telling us what to do.
And now what you are seeing in literally just the last few moments here, as we have questioned and as there has been heightened scrutiny and pushback directly from the Democratic governor and the mayor of Chicago against these pending actions that the president has frequently flirted with over the course of the last weeks, that we do have a formal announcement here from the Department of Homeland Security in just the last few moments, announcing that there will be a surge of federal immigration law enforcement. You mentioned it, that they're calling it Operation Midway Blitz, saying that this ICE operation will target the criminal illegal aliens who flocked to Chicago and Illinois because they knew Governor Pritzker and his sanctuary policies would protect them and allow them to roam free on American streets. President Trump and Secretary Noem stand with the victims of illegal alien crime, while Governor Pritzker stands with criminal illegal aliens. Now, notably, that did not include the announcement of the National Guard. Of course, that does not fall under the purview of the Department of Homeland Security here. But I want to let you listen to the president earlier this morning when talking about Chicago.
You try and reason with them, and it's like you're talking to a wall. It's just doesn't. I assume it's just a political ideology. They're not stupid people. We're waiting for a call from Chicago. We'll fix Chicago. We're bringing back law and order to our country.
He has said, Katie, that he will send in the National Guard. It's not a matter of if, but when at this point. And in a social media post here this weekend, he said that Chicago will soon learn what the Department of War is. Katie.
Yeah, I wonder, Hamed, the Supreme Court ruling that.
Yeah, y'all heard about that shit? That they want to call it Department of Defense the Department of War. I mean, Department of Defense, any adult will be like, okay, you're defending. You're not an offensive department. War, the Department of War. It's just shows the pure ignorance for anybody in that higher level with that kind of power and leadership level to be saying we want to call the Department of Defense the Department. I just had to say that because That lets you know a lot about a person's mindset. I mean, the Department of War, really? Because he is warlike, but not the way I look at war, like, really war breaking out. He's definitely down to do military actions because we so heavily outweigh these people militarily in most cases. So he's willing to flex, show a little muscle, blow some shit up. But if it really came down to us getting into it with somebody who was more equally yoked, I think he'd be feeling maybe not. Maybe not. Might not be a good idea. He'd run up to the fence and bark, and if the gate swing open, he'd run back the other way. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't gonna do nothing. And I hate the fact that a person with that type of character has the ability to utilize the power and the strengths and the weaknesses of the United States to do this shit.
We just got handed down off the shadow docket, which is going to allow immigration agents across the country, but this stemmed from a case in Los Angeles, more broad authority to stop people. A federal judge in California had called it racial profiling. The Supreme Court is rolling that back and saying, as this case comes through the court system, we're going to allow agents to keep on doing what they were doing. Does that give Donald Trump broader authority or broader working space?
No, it sounds like he's going to keep doing what he's been doing. He was doing what he was doing it right, apparently, according to the Supreme Court. And whether you agree with all the Supreme Court's decisions or you are a citizen of the United States who doesn't necessarily agree with them but accept them and abide by them, which is really what we're supposed to do as a country. But I am starting to see more and more instances of the Democratic Party trying to justify going against laws that govern this country under the, I guess, the disguise of us believing, oh no, it's the right thing to do. And the right thing to do supersedes the law. And that's a tough one because if you're breaking the law, you can be sued or locked up for it. No matter whether you're right or wrong. You're wrong because that's why we have laws. And if we're a country of laws, and when you feel that morally you have the higher ground, that means you can break a law or go against the federal government, then we really don't have a democracy.
In the city of Chicago to do these immigration arrests, these detainments?
Well, I think what it definitely does is embolden some of the leaders of the immigration crackdown to basically say that what they were doing was appropriate and legal. I mean, this is something that leaders of the operation in Los Angeles have said repeatedly. So I think we can certainly expect them to continue with the tactics that they've deployed in Los Angeles, going to the parking lots of big box stores and arresting people. These types of things, I think now it really allows them to say.
And he's saying like they're just going to the parking lot of big box stores. He's referring to the Home Depot parking lots where a lot of illegal immigrants and day laborers, some of them are legal immigrants, are out there trying to get day labor work or whatever their expertise is. Hauling, cleaning out people's yards, installing irrigation systems, tiling floors. I mean, it is really, the more I think about it, it's pretty bad that as a country that we all have participated in this up to this point and not gotten to a moral place collectively where we'd be like, nah, that ain't cool. Joe Biden had 4 years to do something. Now Trump has come in and done something with immigration that we all feel and we all acknowledge and we all are responding to. Whether we agree with it or not, he's doing some shit that's requiring our attention, requiring a response. And Biden come in and pretend to try to push through some immigration shit that the Republicans was not having. And instead of saying, okay, we got to get something and start negotiating with them or doing executive orders, but do some fucking something. So to not do executive orders, and you see Trump obviously doing them, we're disagreeing with him. We don't like to see the shit. We don't like his tactics, but he is putting ink pen to paper. Biden could have acted. Fucking goddamn it, Biden could have acted. He could have done something rather than pile up more, millions more illegal immigrants into the country than we already had, which was already at a level where something needs to be done. If we think continuing to bring them over and allow them to enter the country illegally is the answer, and I know the Democrats don't, and I know the Republicans don't, so why would you do it? Why would you overcrowd our inner cities, overburden our public assistance programs? Public assistance is for citizens of this United States who fall on hard times. Do you know how many citizens of this United States, legal, born citizens, have slipped from society's watchful eye into poverty, into homelessness? It's pretty sad. And we're piling it in from both sides. Trump knows damn well his method ain't gonna work, and the Democrats knew damn well their method was fucked up. And it's gonna work only because it's physically been allowed to happen. You cannot just make millions of people who are here illegally disappear. And we should remember that the people coming from South America and the entire southern border are not the only illegal immigrants in the country. There are illegal immigrants in the country who are walking by ICE agents and not being stopped and not being looked at. And that's kind of messed up too. That's the problem, is that we have a serious racial problem in this country that nobody wants to address. Everybody want to pretend that it's something else, or it's racial when it benefits them, or when it don't, it ain't. Oh, it ain't racial. It ain't. Everybody has their own truth. Everybody has their own feelings. But we have got to get this shit together. There's no way, no how. Trump has exposed one thing, if nothing else, that our democracy apparently ain't as strong as we thought it was. Everybody clamoring and screeching over 9 months of this dude. 9 months of them, and they crying and shit like little bitches. I would have really thought that our democracy was more ironclad than that. And the things that are coming out of some of our politicians' mouths out publicly that can be heard nationally and internationally make us sound like a weak-ass nation, be honest.
Hey, what we're doing is appropriate, and we can continue going forward with this type of enforcement.
So what else are they trying to do? What are they gearing up for?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chicago operation is key. And I think that when you think about this idea of cracking down on crime in Chicago, the administration has, since the first go around, always connected immigration and crime together. And Chicago is no different. They are going after, in particular, Chicago and other cities that have sanctuary policies like Boston, because they say that they are not allowed to go into those jails and pick up people directly. So instead, they are targeting people who have been released from jails, and they will arrest them in the community.
Yeah, but see, when you link immigration to crime, and we happen to be like prominently represented in the criminal realm, in jails and the legal system and all that shit. So you take immigration and you lump it in there with crime, and it just pushes our opportunity to ever progress past being looked at through the lens of a shotgun sights, having red dots put on you and being told to exit the house with your hands up and all that shit. We're never going to progress beyond that because no one is ever going to give it the opportunity to be actually dealt with for what it is: education and racism. Leave the black people alone and educate them and give them the resources and the opportunity to educate properly. No more lying, no more bothering them. Just leave them alone. And we can't get past that point. So we are going now lumped in here with immigration. We should not be. We should not be near this issue. It's an issue that it was not created by us. It's not going to be fixed by us. And we should stop making comments about it on the news as if they're coming for us and using immigration as an, they're not using immigration as an excuse. They're using that keyword crime. They're talking to me, you, and anybody else who's black directly. They're letting your ass know we're coming for you too. Don't think that for 1 minute we just coming for these illegal immigrants. Your black ass is always gonna be sought, highly sought by law enforcement agents. You know they not gonna bring no National Guards in town and not have the word on us. Like, hey, leave the blacks alone, please. You think that happened? Nowhere in America did that happen. Hey, leave them alone and let's get these illegal immigrants out of here. Please. Absolutely not. And it's unfortunate though that even when we ain't doing nothing to nobody, we still in the crosshairs. Because we are put in a place where we have to live amongst this. We shouldn't have to be a part of this. This ain't our fight. This ain't our problem right now. It just ain't. Our job is to be good citizens. Our job is to get along with everybody. Our job ain't to be out there every time it's a fight, break out the old civil rights suit and dust the lint off of it and put it on and start marching. That's not what we are. We're not professional protesters.
They've long said that when they go into the community and they arrest people at homes, at workplaces, in cars, etc., that other people who are there as well, who may be undocumented, may also be arrested. So these cities should cooperate with ICE and DHS to avoid people who are not targeted being swept up as well.
People who are not targeted. Well, if you're not targeted, why would you be swept up? What are they sweeping up untargeted people? That don't make no sense. It's a game. It's a game, and people are going to be hurt by it, unfortunately. And I just wish that we could know that and be realistic that when the Democrats were in office, they had to be at least realistic enough to say, Joe, you kind of slipping, and there's no guarantee Kamala can beat Don. There's no guarantee Trump will lose to her. But we weren't talking in realistic terms. Raised all that money, even got people behind her who ordinarily wouldn't have been, and lose, and then act like Trump did something wrong. He did everything right. And now all we can do is talk bad about the motherfucker, and he is the president of the United States. And no matter how bad we talk about him, and no matter how bad we make this administration look, he making moves. He doing shit. And we are responding to it through the court system. And they can say he want to be a king or rule, all that bullshit. I don't say it because he's responding to the Supreme Court. He's responding to these federal judges. He's playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. He putting out an offense. And if don't nobody say nothing about it, he running into the end zone. If they do, he'll take the penalty, or a second down and 12, or he got sacked. It's an entire event and not just one little small segment. And I think that the Democrats are making it very difficult to be a Democrat right now because of the emotional roller coaster. To stabilize the ship, to set out with a plan, with a game plan, with something that makes sense so that there can be a coordinated effort that's really going to get some traction and go with that, as opposed to just ambulance chasing and protesting and screaming and all that ridiculous shit that's going on right now. It's really bad when we're on the air pleading right now helplessly sidelined and watching the Trump parade go by.
One of the, you touched on this, Shaq, a moment ago, which is that people are acknowledging that there is a crime issue, but they don't believe that this is the way to actually affect it. D.C. has seen its crime numbers go down since Donald Trump, sent out the National Guard, et cetera, onto the streets of D.C. That arrangement between D.C. and the federal government is going to come to an end soon. And obviously, D.C. is a different place. He's got different authorities. But
you got a National Guardsman standing in front of a 7-Eleven. Or how about 2 or 3 of them? And you just happen to be a guy who robs 7-Elevens. Do you think you're going to rob that one that day? Of course crime is going to drop. You drop hundreds of National Guardsmen on any city, the crime is going to drop. People are going to be aware not to be messing around at this particular time. But once that time passes, everything this is a show of force and a very expensive one. And like I said, in the end, I think we should add up the tab for this and see what it did. See what we really accomplished in this. And was it worth it?
there are people within the city of D.C. that live in the more dangerous areas who say, I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump, but I like what he's doing here. I like having more people on the streets, making sure that there is not gun violence. They feel safer because of it. Are you hearing any reaction like that in Chicago?
Yeah, Katie, I have heard some people say that they are open to the idea of National Guard troops going to some of the more violent pockets of the city as a deterrent. They know that it's not something that could be there permanent, but they feel as if it's something that could deter any crime. We should, again.
Yeah, it could, but it puts the National Guards right up against black men. And the bottom line is that's what we need to avoid, is putting the fucking National Guard, because we are not the reason that Donald Trump started bringing National Guards out. So we should not be seeing these motherfuckers on any level, at any point. This shit should not happen. And that's what I don't like, is where it's sliding into. Once they start bringing up that word crime and they're not preceding it with illegal immigrant, they're talking about us. And that's when our ears should perk up and we need to pay attention to this shit. And we should not have them going in deeper pockets where the crime is higher and all. They're talking about us.
Note that crime has decreased in Chicago, shootings, homicides down more than 30% over the last year. But the thing that you continue to hear from leaders, and I'm not just talking about politicians, but pastors at that demonstration I was at earlier today, is that this is an administration that has cut violence prevention funding, that they feel that there are victim support groups or victim support activities that they're not able to do anymore because of that loss in federal funding.
Well, if you're sending in the fucking National Guard, that's what you're replacing what he's talking about. These are programs that are set up by Democrats that goddamn don't work. Look at the fucking cities. How fucking dumb can we be? Look at Chicago, look at LA, look at Seattle, look at New York. Look at these fucking cities. And this is what these programs that Trump killed was doing. Nothing. Just a bunch of fucking money being spent for nothing. Why haven't we got a president in ever who just said, you know what? I'm a fucking clean freak. This country is about to be clean. Hire people and pay them to clean this city. Make the city look right. House people. Get people up off the street. Make clean walls, clean windows. Make this, man, when you go downtown, and most of my life, I've been in democratically run cities. And it is not a beautiful thing. But you accept that as your world. You accept that as your environment. And it is not bright and shiny. And it's not like when you go places and you see other things, you do unconsciously compare it to home, and you're thinking like, wow, I wish we had a water fountain like that in the center of town, and it wasn't a whole bunch of homeless people sleeping around it, or the water wasn't a funny color.
That there's violence interrupters that are not able to go out and deploy as much as they were able to. Some are worried about losing their job because of that loss of federal funding. The message that you hear is that not that they don't want federal help, they just don't think it's helpful to have National Guard troops here in this city.
Yeah. You got kids? Any of y'all got kids? Sound like your damn kids, huh? Hey, I need some money. Well, what do you need money for? Well, oh, well, you know what? I tell you what, as you reach them the money, you should do, no, no, no. I don't like you telling me what to do. Well, give me back my goddamn money then. That's what these cities want. They want federal funding. They want federal resources, but they want to do what they want to do with it. And they have no proof that they've been doing the right shit. You should have one fucking city that's a big, big city in the United States that you should be able to hold up as a model and say, this is what all of our democratically run cities should look like, and everybody should aspire to that. It would mean getting rid of some of the illegal immigrants. It would mean cleaning up the homelessness. It would mean educating your people better. It would mean a lot of shit that the Democrats have the power to, and have had the power to do. They just ain't did it. And they're not gonna do it. And Donald Trump, no, they ain't gonna do it. He ain't gonna do it. It's just some bullshit going on. It's a pissing match, and we keep losing. And now they are putting the National Guard on black people. Illegal immigrants too. And probably Asians and any fucking body else, but I'm letting you know, if you black, they're putting them out there for you. And don't think that when you see one, they're looking for illegal immigrants exclusively. They've already said illegal immigration and crime are linked. So it ain't no way out of that one, except for us to get better educations and lower the crime rate by not going to jail, by going to work, by opening up your business, pulling those bars open, turning locks, calling your employees to bring supplies in on the way into the office or on the way into the shop or wherever the hell business you own, because we have not been given the opportunity to be business owners for very long without something happening to take away the land that we're running our businesses on, or to make it more difficult for us than others. There's no way we would be so deficient in business ownership in the numbers alone if it wasn't a real reason. Why doesn't Trump identify that problem and send in a task force who does pop-up shops in the back of Walmarts like they do what's some motherfuckers H&R Block down there doing people's taxes? Why you can't have black people walking through and they say, hey, mini little business seminar. You sit down, the person talk to you, pick your brain, find out what kind of shit you like, show you what kind of funding is available for you, and how to get yourself going. Why don't they offer that shit? Because they don't want to fund it. They don't want your ass owning nothing. And they want you to believe that no one is out to get you. And right now, our fight is with the illegal immigrants. You guys aren't nothing to worry about. You watch and see if the numbers of blacks being locked up slows down in Chicago, LA. He's targeting. Trump is targeting. And for all these decades, we've been being targeted and didn't know it. When this man targeted us, it's identifiable. Oh my God, we're being targeted by the president. But all these other presidents who's signing all these fucked up laws in 3 strikes like it's a game into existence, locking us the fuck up. But that's okay, because it's our own kind. It's our Democrats. They're just doing the best thing because they don't like crime. They don't like education either. I'm telling you, it's fucked up, you guys, but we can't be that misguided. We just can't be. Because that's what they expect. And when they see that we're not acting the way they expect us to act, they're going to get nervous. They might fuck around and do something good for us. Who knows? Like, comment, share, and please subscribe. And we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.